We live in such a remote, snowy place. This is how life is here.
There are places in the Himalayas that don't appear on the usual travel maps. Not because they don't exist, but because reaching them demands more than curiosity. Who is willing to leave behind comfort and familiarity just to reach them? It demands effort and the willingness to step away from everything familiar. Along the remote trails of the Manaslu circuit, beyond landslides, narrow paths, and days of walking, lies the hidden Tsum Valley, a place where access has always been limited and life has adapted accordingly. A valley where Buddhist monks still chant the same prayers in the same ancient monasteries that were built over 1,000 years ago. Where many walls stretching over 250 meters long line the trails, each stone carved by human hands, each carrying a prayer that has been spinning in the mountain wind for centuries. Where the killing of any living creature, any creature at all, is prohibited, not by law, by faith, by a collective agreement between the people and their mountain gods that has never once been broken. This is a valley where traditional Buddhist and Tibetan culture and way of life has been completely undisturbed by modernity, and surrounding it, towering above it on every side, stands one of the most dramatic mountain circuits on the face of this earth. The Manaslu Circuit, circling the world's 8th highest peak, through passes that touch 5,000 meters, through landscapes that no camera has ever fully done justice to. 2 journeys, one extraordinary story. And it begins right now. Deep in Nepal's Himalayas, combining the beauty of the Manaslu Conservation Area with the remote Tsum Valley near the Tibetan border, lies one of the most extraordinary trekking journeys on Earth. A journey that does not simply take you through landscapes, it takes you through centuries. At 8,156 meters above sea level, Mount Manaslu is the 8th highest mountain in the world. And the Manaslu Circuit trek circles it completely, taking trekkers through breathtaking mountains, rural villages, and one of the most culturally rich regions of the Himalayas. But it is the detour into Tsum Valley that transforms this trek from extraordinary into genuinely unforgettable. This sacred valley sits way up north in the Manaslu area, right next to Tibet. Ancient villages like Chumling, Chokangparo, and Nile spread across the landscape, where locals still live by Tibetan Buddhist customs that predate most of the nations currently drawn on our maps. The Manaslu region has long attracted trekkers with its magnificent scenery and unusual cultural heritage. But what defines it most deeply is not the mountains, it is the people.
Namaste. Namaste.
The Gurung, the Nubri, the Tsum, communities whose ancestors arrived from Tibet centuries ago and built something here that the modern world is only just beginning to discover. This is not a trek, this is a time machine. And today, we are stepping inside it. If you are still watching this interesting documentary video, then please do subscribe to our channel so that it will motivate me to work hard to enhance the quality of video for viewers. To understand Tsum Valley, the Tsum Valley was once a culturally distinct geographical area known as Tsum Tso Chuksum, meaning 13 provinces ruled as a single territory, a kingdom that once stretched all the way to include Mount Kailash and Mustang. This was not a small village clinging to the edge of a mountain. This was a civilization. An organized, governed, spiritually sophisticated civilization existing at altitudes that would have made most of the ancient world simply turn around and go home. The word Tsum itself comes from the Tibetan word tsombo, meaning vivid. And that single word tells you something essential about how the people who named this place experienced it. Not harsh, not remote, not isolated. Vivid, full of life, blazing with meaning. The Buddhist saint Milarepa, one of the most revered figures in all of Tibetan Buddhism, is believed to have meditated in the caves of these mountains, which means that for over 1,000 years, spiritual seekers have been making the grueling journey to this valley, not despite its remoteness, but because of it. Because somewhere in that silence, in that thin, cold air, in that landscape stripped of everything unnecessary, something essential becomes audible. The Gurung people, the principal ethnic group of the broader Manaslu region, originally settled Nepal from Tibet in the 6th century, merging Tibetan Buddhism with ancient animistic ritualism. The Tsum and Nubri people followed, the Nubri migrating approximately 400 years ago, the Tsum people practicing a unique blend of Buddhism and the ancient Bon religion that predates Buddhism itself by centuries.
Security, people and interactions. The completed application forms can be deposited with
Tsum Valley remained completely isolated from modern developments for centuries. And it was only in 2007 and 2008 that the Nepal government formally opened it to trekking and tourism. Before that, for 1,000 years of documented history, it simply lived on its own terms, undisturbed, unobserved, and entirely, magnificently itself.
Goat fur.
Villages here are dotted with chortens, mani walls, and monasteries, some of which date back to the 8th century. The stones in those walls were placed by hands that belonged to people whose great-great-grandchildren are still placing stones in those same walls today. There are very few places left on Earth where you can say that. Tsum Valley is one of them. Tsum Valley is a remote Himalayan valley located in the northern part of Gorkha district in Gandaki province, Nepal, nestled within the Manaslu conservation area close to the Tibetan border. The valley sits at an altitude ranging from approximately 1,900 meters at its lowest point to over 4,000 meters at its highest, bounded on all sides by the Ganesh Himal, Shringi Himal, and Bodha Himal mountain ranges. From Mu Gompa, the valley's highest monastery at approximately 3,700 meters, it takes just 3 hours to reach the Tibetan border. 3 hours of walking separates this ancient community from the country it has been culturally and spiritually connected to for over 1,000 years. And surrounding the entire Tsum Valley Circling it like a magnificent frame around an irreplaceable painting is the Manaslu circuit itself. The circuit circles Mount Manaslu, the world's 8th highest peak at 8,163 meters, covering approximately 177 to 200 kilometers of trail that climbs from subtropical forests all the way to the Lakyala Pass at 5,160 meters. A pass so high, so exposed, so brutally cold before dawn on summit day that crossing it feels less like walking and more like an act of pure, defiant will. How do you feed a family in a place where summer lasts barely 3 months and the earth only cooperates for that narrow, precious window before the cold returns and takes everything back? The Sumba maintain their livelihoods through subsistence farming and animal husbandry. They also gather yacha gumba, the prized Himalayan caterpillar fungus, and wild garlic for additional income. Most food supplies must be brought in from the lower Gorkha region or by yak caravan from Tibet. These high transportation costs make everything comparatively expensive, from food and medicine to basic building materials. Traditional crafts provide another layer of survival. Men carve mani stones, sacred stones inscribed with Buddhist mantras, while both men and women weave clothing and carpets that are essential not only to their cultural identity, but to their economic existence. And governing all of this, coordinating the planting, the irrigation, the rituals, the disputes. What happens to a valley with no road connection to the outside world when winter arrives? What happens to a community of 2,000 to 4,000 people when the passes close, the trails disappear under meters of snow, and the cold descends with a total, absolute authority that no human being in this valley has ever successfully argued with? The wind constantly whispers through the buildings, and the winters are long and brutally cold. There is hardly any heating, and food supplies depend entirely on the unpredictable weather. Just getting the necessities for daily survival requires extraordinary effort. Winter temperatures drop well below freezing, and snowfall is common. Some tea houses close during the coldest months, but more significantly, the people themselves move. Tea houses and lodges close as people migrate to lower regions. This is a normal tradition of people living in the Himalayas, a seasonal migration to avoid extreme cold that has been practiced for generations. Mugompa, located in an isolated spot near the Tibetan border, is home to monks and nuns who remain through harsh winters and limited resources, maintaining their meditation practices in a silence so complete and so ancient that it feels less like weather and more like a spiritual condition. The houses along the Manaslu circuit and Tsum Valley have to withstand some of the toughest weather conditions on Earth. Higher up, villages receive heavy winter snow that piles up on roofs and walls. Strong winds tear through open valleys, making temperatures feel even more savage. Because of all this, local houses are built with thick stone walls to keep cold out and warmth in. Small windows stop heat from escaping. Low, sturdy roofs handle rain, snow, and wind simultaneously. The stone used to build these houses is gathered entirely from local sources, and the flat roofs are specifically designed to face significant snowfall. These strong homes are built to survive for many generations. A central fireplace anchors every home, not as decoration, but as the literal heart of the household, the place where the family cooks, gathers, warms itself, and waits out whatever the mountain decides to deliver next. Slate roofs top mud houses as you climb through the valley, each one telling the same story of a family that looked at this unforgiving landscape and decided, with total seriousness and total commitment, to make it home. What does it actually look like on an ordinary Tuesday to live a life completely untouched by the modern world? No smartphones, no supermarkets, no hospitals on speed dial, no infrastructure of convenience holding the day together from behind the scenes. In Tsum Valley, it looks like this. A farmer rising before sunrise to tend terraced barley fields that his great-grandfather also tended. A woman spinning yak wool into thread by the light coming through a small stone window. A child herding livestock along a trail lined with mani walls carved by hands that stopped moving centuries ago. The people of Tsum Valley have preserved their way of life almost entirely unchanged for centuries. Isolation permitted them to preserve their language, their culture, and their religion. Giving us a rare view of a life that changed little for hundreds of years. The Tsumba people declared their land Shiagya, meaning a non-violent area, which embodies their dedication to peace and coexistence. This commitment shapes their daily lives by prohibiting hunting, animal slaughter, and deforestation. In a world of relentless consumption, where everything is available and nothing is truly sacred, a community that has voluntarily chosen to protect every living creature within its borders stands as something almost incomprehensibly rare. The Tsumba people speak their own unique dialects, Sumke and Tsumba, that are heavily influenced by Tibetan culture. Their unique culture, traditions, lifestyle, and celebrations give insights into the ways of life in the Himalayas. These festivals and celebrations not only strengthen the people's spiritual relationship with nature, they continuously preserve the spiritual beliefs and traditions passed down from ancient times. Every festival here is not entertainment. It is an act of cultural resistance, a community saying, loudly, joyfully, collectively, we are still here. We remember. We have not forgotten who we are. Out of 23 monasteries in this serene hidden valley, Rachen Monastery and Mu Monastery are considered the most significant. Mu Gompa is located in an isolated spot and is home to 20 monks who thrive in a peaceful environment despite harsh winters and limited resources. Rachen Nunnery accommodates 80 nuns and has embraced modern improvements like solar lighting and piped water, yet remains a center for spiritual study and community health services. Rachen Gompa is believed to be several centuries old and has long served as a center for Buddhist education and spiritual practice. Many of its traditions, rituals, and teachings have been passed down orally and through handwritten texts, preserving a form of Buddhism that has changed little over time. The monks and nuns of Tsum Valley spend their lives praying, meditating, and teaching the younger generation. Their peaceful way of living helps protect the valley's unique Buddhist culture and harmony. These are not buildings, they are living, breathing universities where the curriculum has not changed in 1,000 years, and the examination is the quality of a life lived. In Tsum Valley, education does not begin in a classroom. It begins at the moment a child is old enough to watch, to listen, and to remember. Spiritual monasteries like Mu Gompa and Rachen Nunnery serve as hubs for education and contemplation, with monks dedicating their entire lives to spiritual practices and the teaching of younger generations. These institutions keep Tsumba traditions alive through rituals, teachings, and festivals, ensuring the valley's cultural heritage carries on from one generation to the next. Formal schooling recent years, modest stone buildings where children learn Nepali and basic literacy. But here, the elders will tell you something that no curriculum planner from Kathmandu has ever quite understood. The most important things a child in Tsum Valley needs to know: how to read the weather, how to care for animals, how to pray with genuine intention, how to treat a stranger with warmth in the coldest conditions. None of those things are taught in a classroom. They are absorbed through living, through watching, through a childhood spent inside one of the most extraordinary communities on Earth. Who are the women who choose or are born into the choice of living at the edge of the world and carrying it forward on their shoulders? Rachen Gompa holds a unique and deeply important role as a nunnery, providing for generations a place for women to study Buddhist teachings, perform rituals, and live a monastic life dedicated to spiritual growth. This makes it especially significant in a region where religious institutions are deeply woven into daily life. Outside the monastery walls, the women of Tsum Valley are the farmers, the weavers, the water carriers, the firekeepers, and the first teachers of every child born into this community. Since opening to tourists in 2008, Tsumba women have also embraced the role of cultural ambassadors, sharing their traditions through homestays, festivals, and direct cultural exchanges with visitors, opening the door of their ancient world just wide enough to let the outside see in, without letting the outside come all the way through. Tsum Valley forces you to sit for a long time after the journey ends, long after the prayer flags have faded from your photographs and the sound of monastery horns has quieted in your memory. Today, Tsum Valley stands at its most delicate crossroads. One faction of its community advocates for rapid development, willing to sacrifice traditional aspects of the valley in exchange for economic growth. Another calls for a more cautious and sustainable approach, preserving cultural and environmental integrity while still improving living standards. Climate change has become a pervasive force reshaping life in Tsum Valley. Glaciers are melting rapidly, snowfall patterns have become deeply inconsistent, and the youth, drawn by better opportunities abroad, are leaving in growing numbers, each departure taking with it a language speaker, a tradition keeper, a story carrier. The valley that survived 1,000 years of isolation, of brutal winters, of political upheaval and geographic punishment, now faces something it has never truly faced before: the quiet, gradual, almost invisible erosion of itself. And the world that ignored this place for 1,000 years, now has both the opportunity and the responsibility to pay attention before it is too late. Some journeys take you to extraordinary places, and some journeys, the rarest, most important kind, take you to a place that changes the lens through which you see every other place that follows. Tsum Valley and the Manaslu circuit are that second kind of journey. You arrive as a traveler. You leave as something harder to name. Someone who has witnessed a civilization that chose peace over power, faith over convenience, and community over individuality, and somehow, impossibly, made it work for 1,000 years in one of the harshest environments on Earth.
Tsum Valley is a living museum of Buddhism where people still follow ancient values and practices in their day-to-day life. But it is more than a museum. It is a question, a living, breathing, prayer flag flying question addressed directly to the rest of the world. If this journey moved something real in you, share this documentary so more people discover what Nepal is truly hiding beyond Everest. Subscribe for more untold stories from the world's most extraordinary places.